So when you're learning to make pasta, you start here. We have fallen apart here. Oh my God. And you get to here. I didn't know I was capable of such things. And then you, I don't know yet actually. I've only made it twice. Let's find out what happens. I'm just not gonna give up without a fight. It's nice to have you in my kitchen, all of you, all at once. I'm still in Marcella Hazan's The Essentials of Classic Italian Cooking. And what? This is the 4th episode now. You know, we started with her famous tomato sauce with some homemade gnocchi. Still working on the pronunciation of that one. And then I moved on to the bolognese with tagliatelle from scratch. And then most recently with the ravioli. So I'm back for more. And I figure, you know, it's summertime. Why not make something that kind of suits the season? So I was thinking pesto. A little warning here. She doesn't really mince words when it comes to pesto. It may have become more popular than is good for it. When I see what goes by that name and what goes into it and the bewildering variety of dishes it is slapped on, I wonder how many cooks can still claim acquaintance with pesto's original character and with the things it does best. It is a vehicle for the fragrance of basil like no other. Olive oil, garlic, pine nuts, butter, and grated cheese are the only other components. And pesto is never cooked or heated, and while it may on occasion do good things for vegetable soup, it has just one great role: to be the most seductive of all sauces for pasta. Recommended pasta is spaghetti. Goes perfect with it. So yeah, let's do it. Let's get to work. For every 100 grams of flour when you're making pasta, you want to use 1 egg. That is the feedback I gained from many of you. So I figure, you know, I try that out, and with the ravioli, it was a success. So I'm just going to continue doing that again. So yeah, I have 300 grams of 00 flour, and I have shaped it into a well, and I already cracked my egg open, so I got to put that in there. And the 3 eggs go into the center. So with a fork, I'm going to beat these eggs together as if I'm making up an omelet. Draw the flour in and on top of the eggs while you continue to beat. And I sprung a leak, as I usually do around this point. So let's just kind of quickly just go to town. Get your hands dirty, start combining the flour and the eggs. Using the fingers and the palms of my hands. Now, the great thing about learning how to make pasta is that on your 3rd attempt, it starts to become second nature, which is really good. And you can be really good at pinpointing when there's eggshells there, and you just remove those really quickly and continue on your way. But yeah, it does become second nature. You start to become a little more confident with the dough making process. Continue to knead. Press my thumb deep into the center of this mass, and when the thumb comes out clean, that means that I can move on to the next step. Clean up my workstation. All right, so this is what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna keep my fingers bent using the palm of my hand, press down, and then I fold it once, and then I do a half turn, and then I repeat again. Just keep doing this for 8 minutes. Okay, I got a dough ball here, smooth as a baby's skin. I wrap it up in plastic wrap. Now this part isn't actually in the cookbook. This was based on the feedback from you guys, but I'm told to keep this in the fridge for around half an hour for that dough just to rest and for it to rehydrate and for you to take a break. Work on the pesto maybe? I don't know, lots to do. Shut up, fridge. Shut up. Now pesto comes from the city of Genoa, which is the northwest part of Italy. And she says here that Genoese cooks insist that if it isn't made with a mortar and a pestle, it isn't pesto. Because linguistically, the word comes from the verb pestare, which means to pound, as in a mortar. And anyway, long story short, she says it would be a great pity to pass up making pesto because one has not the time or the inclination to use the mortar. The nearly effortless and very satisfactory food processor method is therefore given. Oy. She read my mind. So I am going to use the food processor today. Just to make things easier for a first timer here, but also it's kind of a time thing. But if that's not cool, I'm sorry. Welcome to Jamie's garden here. I'm gonna just kind of snip off some fresh basil, if you don't mind. But if this isn't enough basil, and I need quite a bit of it, well then I have a lot of extras. Now with pesto, of course, basil is the star ingredient, so you don't want to skimp. 2 cups of tightly packed basil leaves. I purchased very wisely today. I used every last leaf, which is great. So now I need to wash this in cold water.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh my god, it smells like basil in here.
Gently pat the basil leaves dry. Once they're dry, okay, I would say that's as thoroughly dry as I can muster. So let's get these basil leaves into the food processor. EVOO. Extra virgin olive oil, ½ a cup worth. Take your time. Okay, olive oil goes in. Whoa. Along with 3 tablespoons of pine nuts. Okay, I need 2 garlic cloves chopped finely. There is a question as to why, because I'm just going to be putting this in the food processor anyway. But that's what she says, so I'm going to do it. The 2 cloves of garlic in with everything else. And she says an ample pinch of salt. Process this to a uniform, creamy consistency. All right, Steve, show me what you got. There's a couple pine nuts that you seem to be avoiding, Steve. I think that's as far as I can push it. It's creamy, it's uniform. Perfect. Thank you. And I need to transfer first. Transfer what is soon to be pesto into the bowl here. We got some Parmesan Reggiano, and I need to grate up ½ a cup worth. That goes into the bowl. 2 tablespoons of freshly grated pecorino romano. It's a bit softer than the parm. 1 tablespoon, 2. So she says here to mix the 2 cheeses with my hands, as it's worth the slight effort to do it by hand to obtain the notably superior texture it produces. Wash your mittens. So with my hands, I'll just use 1 hand. So when the cheese has been evenly amalgamated with the other ingredients, mix in the softened butter uniformly into the sauce. I require 3 tablespoons worth, so start with a tablespoon and go from there. Okay, 1 more tablespoon. That's 3 tablespoons in total. I'm gonna keep that in the fridge. Gotta clean up, and then I gotta make some spaghetti. Isn't that interesting? Look at all the moisture that's been added back into this dough. Okay, so that's great. I summon thee. It's Chromio, my pasta maker. And trying to do that with a straight face is difficult. So let me just give this the clamp down, flour up this surface here, thin it out 3 times as many eggs as I used. So I used 3 eggs, which means I need 9 pieces. Whatever I'm not using at the moment, I will just put underneath my bowl, flatten out one of these dough pieces, and I'm gonna try to make it into a rectangle-ish. And let's go to the widest notch, feed it through the wide way first, fold it once, I'm gonna fold it twice, and then I do a lengthwise. Adjust the notches until I've reached 4. But keep feeding it lengthwise. I got this little doodad. It's a drying rack for my pasta. So now I can take this and just like hang it there while I move on to the next ones. That says spaghetti. I picked up this, spaghetti attachment. Slice it up to the right thickness, generously flour that up, and kind of like keep everything floured. And okay, it's kind of like evenly. That's spaghetti, right? It's like the same length as spaghetti. I think that's like what spaghetti looks like. Here's store-bought spaghetti. This is my dough. It looks to be very close in length, which I would say is great. And we got spaghetti. That is spaghetti. Let's just kind of like flour it up a bit, back onto the rack until I need it. All right, there we go. Put it on the rack, continue on our way. That's beautiful. Hi. So it's time to cook the pasta, which I'm pretty excited about doing. So I've had this drying on this rack here for, I would probably say, around 10 minutes. And I think I just need to just do it. I got some water to a boil over here. 6 quarts, just under 6 liters of water. Plenty of water. Drop in around 2 tablespoons of salt. I say if I take this much spaghetti for myself, that would be a healthy portion, wouldn't it? Okay, so once that water's been brought back up to a boil, got a colander. I'm just gonna keep that off to the side with this. So in earlier episodes, the pasta I made took around 3 to 4 minutes. But this is so thin, like I think it's gonna take 2 minutes. That's my guess. I'll keep my eye on it, but I think I'm right. I mean, she doesn't say in the book, she just says like, you know, use your judgment. Well, she doesn't say that either, but that's what I'm gonna do. Spaghetti goes in 3 to 2 minutes. So I just wanna keep it moving around a bit. Pesto is ready to go. I got 28 seconds. How's this looking? It's ready to go. 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes. Cool. So in a other bowl here, I'm gonna take my spaghetti along with however much pesto I want. Which, you know, probably most of this. And this is an important ingredient here. I'd say a couple tablespoons worth of pasta water, which is gonna dilute it slightly. I just put in spaghetti into the bowl the only way I know how, and that's just by dropping it in. I'm not very fancy over here. Well, let's try. Let's kind of spin it around. I don't know how people do that. All right, and we're done here. Order up! Are you serious? The pesto that I'm familiar with has always been like out of a jar. You know, I've had pesto, but I really have never had pesto. That's really good. It's really good. Oh man, that basil. It is herbaceous overload over here and garlicky, cheesy. What else? What else you got? 2 minutes or less for that spaghetti. That's all it took. And yeah, it's just got like a perfect little bite to it because your teeth just kind of cut through it easily, but it's there. Once you figured out how to make pasta and you can kind of just breeze right through that, and then the pesto took no time at all. So you know what? You just throw that into your cooking repertoire. You got a banger. Happy guy right here. And I'm just gonna move this because when I exit frame, I'm probably gonna knock it over. So that's it, that's all. This was Jamie and Marcella. Buon appetito.